Well, as we always say, if you like what the UK column is doing, then please join us. Hopefully I can bring that up on screen. Here we go. And that would be wonderful if you became a UK column member. We can only do what we do with your financial support, but you can also help us by making a purchase through the UK column shop. Exciting things will be happening there in the near future. We've also got, of course, all of our streams, and we invite people to share our material in order to help us to get the word out far and wide. And of course, sadly, we're still banned on YouTube, so these other channels are important. Now, we've got a number of interviews in the pipeline. David, I think you've got a little selection here.
Yes, out last week, and on the website currently we have an interview with Ben Rubin looking at all of the sort of things that that Debi's been discussing for some months and years, and this is looking at the rise of big data and the genomics industry and how the NHS plays a very special part in what is being planned, and essentially how working in the interests of big pharma, not in the interests of the British people. Okay. We also have an interview that's going out, that went out on Tuesday with the latest part of the interview with Simon Elmer. That will be up on the website tomorrow and being broadcast tomorrow. We have a fascinating interview with the very wonderful Lily Tang Williams, who grew up under Chairman Mao, fled to America, and her story and her insights into totalitarianism are absolutely fascinating. That was an interview we did a little while ago in Edinburgh as she was briefly in the country. So it was lovely to meet her, and I hope you'll enjoy that interview. It gives a very unique perspective.
Okay, thank you for that, David. And I'll say with Lily Tang, this was important to us because we felt we needed a greater understanding of what's happening in China. And that is so difficult to find out unless you can talk to experienced Chinese people themselves. So this is a very interesting development for us. Now, we'd just like to say we're still getting, of course, very nice emails on all sorts of subjects, but it appears that we have got a viewing in Denmark. We've mentioned 15-minute cities before, but this is another email saying to the UK column saying thank you for your work. People in Denmark are divided like anywhere else, I believe. The government are making life outside the cities much harder through new taxes, making small farms and shops close, and tightening the rules and the economy for the communer, making schools and daycare facilities close. More people are waking up, but slowly and too few. Mainstream media is bought and silent. UN goals are being pushed everywhere in buses, trains, schools, libraries, and other public spaces. Vaccines are even promoted at the school dentists where children go to the dentist. Prices are rising in Denmark, and a lot have doubled in price since 2020. But I think more and more people are coming together in little groups, but nothing organised, as we believe we're faced with controlled opposition, and fake groups are splitting people apart. I know more people are stockpiling and preparing for self-sufficiency and off-grid matters. Keep up your good work. Well, thank you very much to our audience in Denmark for sending that through. And I'll also just give a little advert here for Debi Evans' blog, which, as you know, is up on the website. Debi, do you want to say anything about this very briefly?
Oh yes, antimicrobial resistance this week, sperm, and are you ready to take your crapsule or drink your fecal milkshake? More on Extra 2.
And if people are shocked by what you've just said, this is the harsh reality, and it's our job to report it and warn the UK public what's really happening. But David, let's bring you back. What's happening in matters to do with the economy?
Well, one sort of crapsule to another. We've got Christine Lagarde. Roll the tape.
We are here together with policymakers, academics, journalists, market people, observers, and we will compare notes, share expertise, analysis, try to better understand the macroeconomic environment in which we operate. We will have a lot of debates on, of course, what is of high concern to all of us. How do we reduce inflation to target? We will also talk about the ingredients of inflation: energy, wages, profits, you name it. And you can participate. So I would really encourage you to join us on the ECB website. It starts tonight.
So there we have it, an invitation by Christine Lagarde to go and listen to the central bankers of Europe and America try to understand what on earth is happening with the economy. And they'll be talking about all aspects of inflation, but apparently not about the central bank's role in causing it. That wasn't in her list. And if you want to see people really not getting it, it's a very good place to go. Just as an example, we have Mario Draghi.
Today, things have changed. Political winds are becoming tailwinds. There is a newfound confidence in the reform process and a newfound support for European cohesion, which could help unleash pent-up demand and investment.
So we've got pent-up demand, really, and we've got newfound confidence, and the political winds are all pushing the economy forward. I wonder what the weather is like on Mario Draghi's planet. And to give you another example of how disconnected we are, here we've got the European Central Bank prediction for inflation. And oh, wouldn't you know, right, in about a year and a half, it'll be more or less on target. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. Another European Central Bank commentary. Housing markets have started to cool. That's what he said. Look at the graph, right? So we're seeing the market plummet, the price level plummet in a way that's very reminiscent of the Great Recession back in 2009. That's their definition of starting to cool, if you like to believe that. And we'll just quickly go on an interesting article in Financial Times. We'll just touch on it briefly. The return of quantitative easing. So this is an article written by a capitalist and an author who is not buying the narrative from the central banks. So he's saying that QE is basically baked in. He continues, integrity of banks and sovereign bond markets are sacrosanct in modern finance. Led by the Federal Reserve, central banks have just injected substantial cash into money markets over recent months to bail out flaky banks. The idea that the banks in the sovereign bond markets are sacrosanct, not the people, that's absolutely vital. You have to understand that. And he continues, in a world of excessive debt, large central bank balance sheets are a necessity. So forget quantitative tightening. Easing is coming back. And he talks also about the United States Treasury thinking about buybacks and other unconventional policy twists. And then he lays this little fact on us. We estimate that a whopping 7 in every $8 changing hands in world finance markets are now being used to refinance existing debts. An increasing share of the $1 left over for new financing is to fund swelling government deficits. So actually, we've got massive debt and a shortage of credit for anything actually useful. This chart here next shows that there's been several attempts to actually reduce the Fed's balance sheet, but it hasn't worked. And basically, they've done nothing on that for about a year now in net. And he said that there's not many alternatives to QE because the taxpayer is already squeezed dry. So he concludes, how about domestic US households and pension funds? The trouble here is that higher interest rates may be required to entice them into bonds when the threat of inflation looms large. But higher interest rates boost the fiscal deficit, requiring still larger amounts of debt, compounding the problem. As a joke in Ireland, if you want to travel to Dublin, don't start from here. So this is introducing, I think, an entirely appropriate note of comedy to the whole thing. This is international finance. It is on the brink of collapse. We will watch it very closely.
Okay, David, thank you for that. Well, I'll just add to that I took a little look at the Bank of England, as I like to do. Of course, Mike has already talked about the digital pound and the fact that there's the opportunity for people to comment. The deadline is the 30th of June. It was extended, so you can get on the site and have a look at it. But as I dug into it, I found all sorts of other people involved with what was going on, UK Finance and Innovate Finance. Haven't got time to talk to you about that at the moment, but I did stumble about this wonderful little document for the Monetary Policy Committee for the Bank of England, Communications Guidance for MPC members. It says that the MPC has a responsibility within the bank for formulating monetary policy. So we know we're on the right lines here, but have a look at this. Secrecy. Members must not make statements that might give clues to the developments in monetary analysis that have not been disclosed or that might confuse or mislead the public about monetary policy. So we're too thick to understand it, but they've got a nice little system here that if you play the game and keep your mouth shut, keep that secrecy going, then the payment for keeping secret is extended for the time that for a period of time after you leave. So I just wanted to throw that in there, David. We've got people making this policy. It's all secret. And of course, the public, well, you're just not bright enough to understand what we bankers are doing. We'll dig deeper another time. But Debbie, let's